This is PRIME7 Local News.
Tonight, Gundagai on high alert after COVID infectious removalist stopped in the town. A woman pleads guilty to manslaughter over a deadly house fire. And at 6:30 with Daniel Gibson, our health system under pressure as the virus sweeps through 3 hospitals. And other states swiftly introduce new rules in an effort to curb the COVID spread.
Now, PRIME7 Local News.
Good evening. COVID-19 is creeping closer to the Riverina, despite heavy lockdowns still in place for Greater Sydney. The latest scare has prompted several venues to close for deep cleaning. Jessica McLaughlin joins us now. Jess, should people be concerned?
Phoebe, we're being told not to panic but to be cautious. Confirmed cases of COVID-19 have been associated with 3 different exposure sites in our region. Gundagai is on high alert once again, with anyone who visited the Coles Express between 1 and 1:30 on the morning of July 8 considered a close contact. Those who attended the Gindera Shell service station on July 10 between 11:15 and 11:45am is also considered a close contact. And you are a casual contact if you visited the Hayes Shell service station between 7:30 and 8am on July 10.
Just goes to show that, our area, although we haven't had a positive case in our region, can't be assumed that there's no cases in our area, and we just need to be really vigilant.
Now, the messaging is familiar to us all around this incident, Phoebe. If you have symptoms, get tested. And if you are one of those close or casual contacts, get in touch with New South Wales Health.
Thanks, Jessica McLaughlin there. It's been revealed several Wagga hotels are taking regular calls from people in lockdown attempting to hide out in the regions. It comes despite stern warnings from health authorities just days ago, urging residents to ban Sydney-siders from visiting their homes.
Wagga accommodation providers are fielding as many as 50 calls from Sydney-siders a week, incorrectly claiming to be essential workers or simply trying to slip under the radar.
10 a day, people still asking, can I come and stay? Will you are you letting people come and stay? And
the short answer, no. The stay-at-home order remains in place for the Greater Sydney region, meaning residents are only allowed to leave their homes for essential activities such as work, grocery shopping or exercise, and they can't travel outside Greater Sydney unless they are essential workers. But the reason for the rule breakers may lie in the confusing messaging.
I think it is a lack of understanding, and I think it's a lack of a clear message on what is and what isn't essential.
Accommodation providers are suffering a number of cancellations from people in Sydney doing the right thing. They're saying it could all be alleviated if people just followed the rules, getting the state back to a normal way of life much sooner. The city's mayor warning those doing the wrong thing can expect the full brunt of the law.
Police reached out to me a couple of days ago and they said that they're really going to clamp down on people from Sydney coming here. So be warned, if you're here and you get caught, you will be fined.
If you suspect anyone is travelling from Greater Sydney without a valid reason, the advice is to contact Crime Stoppers. Jessica McLaughlin, PRIME7 News.
A Wagga woman who set a house alight, killing her ex-housemate who was trapped inside, has pleaded guilty to manslaughter. Let's get the latest from Samantha Costin. Sam, the woman struck a deal with prosecutors.
She did, Phoebe. Jennifer Louise Hay was originally charged with murder, but that has now been withdrawn. She was first arrested in May 2020 at Tollins Bruce Street Flats after setting fire to a Titchbourne Crescent home in February 2019, resulting in the death of 36-year-old Kylie Green. The charge was downgraded to manslaughter in Wagga Local Court yesterday, with Hay instantly pleading guilty. She's also pleaded guilty to intentionally or recklessly damaging property by fire. Hay does remain behind bars. She will front court again on August 13, where we will be finding out the date for her actual sentencing.
Thanks, Sam. Samantha Costin there. A disqualified driver will remain behind bars tonight after allegedly failing to stop following a fatal crash near Griffith yesterday. It's alleged Dennis Maxwell Irvin was behind the wheel of a small truck when he collided with a Mitsubishi Outlander on Barellan Road, claiming the life of a 33-year-old man. Irvin briefly faced Griffith local court today. The matter will return to court later this month. A historic Wagga facility will soon be given a new lease on life, providing vital services for veterans. The local sub-branch has agreed to purchase the old monastery to give the Pro-Patria Centre a permanent home.
An estimated 9,000 military veterans live in the Wagga area.
Some of the confusion that lies around the term veteran is that a veteran has served overseas in a conflict or peacekeeping, like some of us here have. However, that is not necessarily the case. Anyone that has served time in the military is a veteran.
Many struggling with isolation and the unique challenges facing those who serve in defence now provided a safe haven in the form of the Pro-Patria Centre, a veteran community temporarily set up in Ashmont's old Carmelite monastery.
Really get them involved in more of a community environment as opposed to more isolationist activities.
Wagga's RSL sub-branch is now planning to purchase the monastery and permanently transform it into a central hub for veterans, giving them access to psychological and social services, some of which have previously only been available in Sydney.
We have essentially a building that serves and is fit for purpose that we can utilise now and very shortly to address the veteran issue now.
The Carmelite monastery was in operation for 53 years, closing its doors in October 2019. The facility now perfectly positioned to transform veteran wellbeing. It comes as a long-awaited Royal Commission into Defence Suicide launched last week, with local veterans encouraged to come forward and provide information. Samantha Costin, PRIME7 News.
Wagga's $9.2 million cycling complex is taking shape, with construction now 75% complete. The roof of the community amenities building has been constructed and the final fittings are being put in place. Signage has been installed in the Learn to Ride space and earthworks on the velodrome are complete.
It's had a seal put down, and then in the upcoming few weeks, subject to weather, it'll be asphalted, and then it'll just about be ready for use.
The project is expected to be complete by the end of the year, but the rest of the work are also weather dependent. Frustration is growing in younger people, with those under 40s not yet being given the option of a Pfizer vaccine. It's available to this age bracket in other states, despite cases exploding in New South Wales.
The state's COVID outbreak will tonight tick over 1,000 cases. Health officials reminding us the Delta variant makes younger people very sick too.
Of the 19 people in the intensive care unit, one is in their 20s, one is in their 30s.
And while some people under 40 are happy to wait for the Pfizer vaccine to become available to them,
I'm waiting for other people who are in more need for it.
Many are increasingly impatient.
It's really neglecting an entire group of people.
Honestly, it's a bit disappointing.
The Pfizer vaccine is available to people over 30 in Western Australia and over 16 in the Northern Territory, so why not in New South Wales?
My message to those young people is we are very conscious of your situation, and as soon as the federal government makes available more vaccine, we'll certainly be reviewing it.
Due to the current outbreak and short supply, ATAGI is suggesting people under 60 reconsider the benefit of the AstraZeneca vaccine. But many are frustrated they don't have the choice of Pfizer, which experts say is preferred for younger people.
Pretty annoying. I would rather have that. It's a bit of a shame that they couldn't get that organised.
Epidemiologists suggest extending the 3-week time frame between Pfizer shots to free up supply and allow more people to get their first dose.
If you extend the period between doses, you certainly don't lose any immune response. In fact, it may be better.
The Health Minister says Pfizer supplies will be much higher by the end of September. Sarah Naven, PRIME7 News.
Wagga's only crisis accommodation for men experiencing homelessness has made an appeal for support. Edel Quinn, a branch of Wagga's St Vincent de Paul Society, is pleading for food donations so it can continue to provide its valuable service. The organisation says the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted many businesses who normally donate, and it's running low on supplies.
We do rely very heavily on donations, and we have definitely been impacted. And in order to keep up the quality of food that we offer people that come through our door here, we really need help with food.
Staff are asking for non-perishable foods like dried pasta and canned food, as well as fresh meats and fruit to be dropped off at the shelter. Water New South Wales says it'll be closely monitoring the water levels at dams across the region, with the wet weather to continue into the weekend. Local dam levels remain at a healthy level, with Bowring Dam at almost 96% capacity and Barrenjack Dam at 95%. Measures have been taken to make sure the dams don't overflow and impact downstream rivers. Local landholders should prepare for flooding. It's time now for a quick check of the weather with Kirsty Fitzpatrick. Kirsty, some grey skies and wet weather around.
Good evening, Phoebe. Yeah, it's been quite unsettled today. Good evening, everyone. Certainly unsettled weather right across the southwest slopes thanks to those cloudy skies. Some rainfall, particularly in the south, and rumbles of thunder. Over the last 24 hours, some good falls, the heaviest around the Snowy Mountains, but Jingellic picked up about 15 millimetres and we had 11 at Batlow. Wagga and Gundagai picked up about 3 to 4 millimetres and we had 6 in the gauge at Young. But to our temperatures, they well and truly jumped a few degrees on yesterday. Wagga 16 was our top today, in the mid to high teens right across the region. In West Wyalong we reached 19 degrees and Young and Cootamundra at 17, but with some breezy northwesterly winds. Now tomorrow and Saturday do look to be the best days for rain. All those details coming up after sport, Phoebe.
Great, thanks Kirsty. Still to come in Prime 7 local news. Demerger battles scaring off councillor candidates and a new van to transport frozen meals to those in need. Wagga's Meals on Wheels was given the keys to its newest delivery van today. The new refrigerated wheels were made possible thanks to an $11,000 community grant from Riverina Water and a special deal by Wagga Motors. The van replaces an older and much bigger vehicle that was purchased back in 1998.
We now have a vehicle that's much more usable than the one we had before, and it helps us provide incredibly valuable services to those who are vulnerable in our community.
The board's very keen to raise its profile and reinvest, again, as I said, the community's money back into projects that support the social fabric of this great city.
Meals on Wheels provides around 31,000 speciality frozen meals each year to locals who prefer to live as independently as possible in their own homes. Cootamundra Gundagai Mayor Ab McAllister has made a fresh bid for information on the proposed demerger of the two councils. Mayor McAllister says he's been trying to get in contact with local government minister Shelley Hancock to find out when a decision will be made, but is yet to hear back. He says the uncertainty surrounding calls for a split has left candidates debating whether or not they should run in the upcoming council election.
A lot of people would be willing to stand in a demerge situation, but not in a merge situation, because they can see going forward, there's still going to be a lot of hard decisions made, and, they don't want to put themselves in the position where they've got to do that to their community.
Council has blamed its dire financial situation on the forced amalgamation. And still to come in Prime 7 News, Tom Corrigan has your sport next, with injury hampering the Crows' odds, and the rematch is on, with the Roos out to redeem themselves.
With the Dragons breathing down their necks, the Kangaroos are desperate for a Group 9 win in Temora.
In the top 5, but hanging by a thread, Kangaroos sit just 2 points ahead of 6th place Temora, as the pair prepare to meet again in a decisive Round 13 showdown on Sunday.
Roos is a big game for us. We played really well against them for 70 minutes last time we played them, so we're looking to go another step and beat them this week. To go level pegging with them, and then we will need to beat some better teams too.
The last time the two collided, Kangaroos raced in 4 tries in the final 15 minutes on their way to a 30-10 win. But after back-to-back heavy defeats, pressure is mounting. Roos put in arguably their worst performance of the season against the Cherry Pickers on Sunday, as Young blasted in 10 unanswered tries.
Competed for the opening 20 minutes and then we just went from bad to worse. So we got quite a few things we need to fix up in our own backyard, and I'll be looking for us to do that this week.
In stark contrast, Temora is continuing to emerge as one of the competition's biggest improvers. South City was lucky to come away with a 12-point win in round 10, while Albury was left shocked as the Dragons claimed their most comprehensive win of the season.
Against Albury, we attacked really well and defended as well as we had to. So, I think our season's heading in the right direction.
Roos also faced the added challenge of searching for form while on the road.
Different story going out to Temora. I haven't been there for a long time, but I do remember it's a lot harder to beat Temora at Temora.
Back in Wagga, the Bulls host Young and brothers meet Gundagai. Steph Muir, Prime 7 News.
Two Riverina Rugby League products have narrowly missed a chance to celebrate a State of Origin series sweep after New South Wales fell to Queensland by 2 points in the final game of the series last night. Coming off the bench, Angus Crichton managed 106 metres from 9 runs and had the most tackle busts of any forward. Liam Martin only played 28 minutes, but the reliable workhorse filled his role. It's been 21 years since the Blues last claimed all 3 games in a series. After moving to third on the serial ladder, Griffith want momentum as they continued their push to the finals.
After a year off in 2020, there's no shortage of Griffith men and women putting their hands up to play a part in the Blacks' 2021 resurgence.
Motivation was fantastic, so we've had great numbers. We haven't had an issue travelling at all this year. We've got 3 full sides, including our ladies as well.
McGregor says the high numbers have helped increase competition within the club, leading to consistent performances on the paddock. Griffith launched into third on the serial ladder after managing to hold off a gallant Albury outfit down on the border. The Blacks are looking to consolidate their spot in the top 3 by handing CSU its 11th loss of the year.
Big game for us. We've had a couple of good wins lately, beating Tumut and Albury in the last fortnight. So really need to get that momentum going over the next few weeks.
Depth has certainly not been an issue with the Blacks this season, with an extraordinary number of players stepping up to first grade.
I think I've had nearly close to 40 different players play first grade this year. There's been a really good depth and consistency throughout.
While the Reddies still reeling after an 87-point thrashing are unlikely to pose too much of a threat to Griffith on Saturday, McGregor says it's important the Blacks continue to gain momentum.
The last 2 games we come up against Waratahs City, so we want to keep building.
In other games, Ag College faces the might of Wagga City and Tumut hosts Albury. Steph Muir, PRIME7 News.
Leighton Witten's hopes of causing an upset against Ganmain have been dealt a blow after coach Sam Darley was ruled out of the round 13 showdown. The influential midfielder suffered a minor quadricep tear in the Crows' 17-point loss to Coolaman and has elected to sit out the clash with the Lions. Ganmain thrashed Leighton Witten by 99 points back in round 4, but the Crows have shown renewed vigour and improvement over the past 3 weeks. A trio of talented riders are looking to continue their rise through the Riverina's equestrian ranks.
She's been riding high since before she could walk.
Started riding when I was really little. The first day out of the hospital, Dad sat me on a horse.
The daughter of legendary Ladysmith horseman Jeff Willis is now carving out her own blossoming career in the saddle, tackling everything from jumping and eventing to camp drafting and stockman's challenges.
I'm going to state show jumping and in Battle on the Bidgie at Gundagai.
Big lead up for the Man from Snow River competition. All the best riders are there at that competition as well.
Alongside Zoe, budding young riders Freya Matthews and Sophia Jordan are also preparing to take a shot at Gundagai's marquee event, while continuing to master new skills and tricks under Jeff's expert guidance.
He helped me push myself so I could get better at riding.
I'd like to take Magic to a couple of gymkhanas and maybe competitions.
COVID has heavily affected the number of events on offer to riding enthusiasts, with local shows and last year's instalment of the Battle on the Bidgie all cancelled. But Jeff hopes the back end of 2021 will see plenty of riders back in the saddle.
To get them out there and competing against the other children that are already up at that high level. Only one way to improve yourself, and that's go and compete against the best.
Seeing his prodigies in action, filling the accomplished horseman with a huge sense of pride.
Big buzz to see your girls go out there and I get a bit of a lump in the throat when they win a good ribbon.
Steph Muir, PRIME7 News.
Still to come in PRIME7 local news, Kosi Fitzpatrick is back with your local weather details.
Good evening again. Well, the first of a sequence of troughs has crossed southeast New South Wales, generating gusty northwesterly winds, showers and some storm activity. The strongest front will approach through Friday and Saturday, though, causing potentially damaging winds as well as some small hail and snow on the highlands. But conditions will ease by Sunday before a trough in the south directs some strong onshore winds as well back into Victoria and New South Wales from Tuesday. Heavy falls across the southwest slopes tomorrow, and really on Saturday will ease to more scattered showers into next week. But over the next 8 days or so, the cumulative rainfall total, across the Riverina and the Wagga region could be up to about 35 millimetres. To our Friday forecast, and we'll end the working and school week with more wet weather on the way. About 15 millimetres is likely with storms, Griffith reaching 14 there, and the same for West Wyalong, and some very strong northwesterly winds. Right across the region, those cooler temperatures hovering between about 10 and 14 degrees, with a top of 12 forecast for Adelong. We will drop down to single digits for regions across Albury, as well as Lockhart, Wagga and Young into Sunday. Moderate to heavy showers continuing, though, once again about that 15 millimetre mark with those storms, and there is even the chance of some small hail developing. Cool at night, but some very incredibly strong 45 kilometre an hour westerly winds are expected. 9 our forecast for Hardham. As we reach Sunday, there will be a bit of a reprieve from that wet weather. Skies remaining fairly overcast, and there is even a chance of snow above about 1,300 metres. In Griffith, 13 our maximum, and Cootamundra and Grenfell reaching a top of 10 with some possible snow in the alpine regions. Near the Victorian border, there's also that chance of a shower. Let's track into early next week now. We will see those scattered showers continuing with that new system arriving from the south, but we're certainly bracing for Friday and Saturday. First, Phoebe, it's going to be very wet.
Thanks, Kirsty. And that's your local news for tonight. I'm Phoebe Dees. Thanks for watching. Join in on the local debate on your local issues on Facebook. Right now, though, PRIME7 News at 6:30 with Daniel Gibson.